Get ready for it.
Good evening, YouTubers, and welcome to our movie review tonight. And I've been finished watching this half an hour, about 40 minutes ago, I don't know. And it was 20 days later, first one. And what I want to do is review both films. But I'm going to I've watched the first one tonight, and god damn, what a great film! Honestly, God, I can't remember how many times I saw it. But I remember getting it from MVC years ago. Right? MVC was a shopping place like HCV and places like that. But that place is closed now. I don't go there anymore. I used to go there with my mum and stuff like that. I remember going in 2002, right? And not now, of course. I remember buying the film, getting the film off the shelf and just buying it. I think that was the only thing I brought was 28 days later. And this is when I was, you know, about 22 years, 22. And I just used to buy a film that was it, then go home and watch it. And to be honest, I miss those days. You know, when you miss those days when you used to do simple things like that, and it wasn't spoiled. You just got a film and that was it. Went home and watched it. And sometimes I miss it, you know. It's just fun. Anyway, so we watched this again tonight. What a great film it was. 28 days later. It's a zombie film. It's directed by Danny Boyle, who directed Trainspotting films like Trainspotting 2. Shallow Grave is directed, and I heard that he's going to direct James Bond. So that'd be great. Oh yeah, he directed those Sherlock Holmes films, like a bit more light-hearted. This film actually more light-hearted than the films that. And I heard that he's. Is it Dr. James Bond? I'm not sure now, but yeah, great director, really is. But 28 Days Later was like his first horror film, I think it was. Proper zombie film, anyway. So yeah, it's kind of a zombie film and kind of not, because kind of is because you get infected, you become like a zombie, kind of, and then you try to kill other people. Difference is that these are like ragey zombies. These are like rage. These are kind of like pure evil, the most violent kind of like. Aggression that the human can show, you know. So yeah, this guy wakes up in this. At the beginning of the film, you see these people go into this laboratory with these monkeys, these chimps, right? Which something's gone wrong. They're affected by something, of course, because there's a guy working there that these people trying to get what was it? these animal rights activists. So I don't know who they are. They break in, right, of course, these like chimps, and one of them's like looking at his monitor, right, these violences. Of course, something happens, and this guy who's working there says that they've been infected. Of course, the stupidest thing is the girl opens the cage and she gets infected, and then that's how all freaking happens. And now I just had a brainwave. I would love to see a prequel to that scene where it happens straight after, so you see everyone get infected just before. I don't know, it'll be quite interesting because I think there'll be a story just before the first film. Well, great film, and of course this guy wakes up in this hospital, right? The guy who's in the Batman films, and he plays Scarecrow. I can't remember his name. I like the fact it's set in England, England of course, in London of course. And the greatest thing about this film is the fact that everything looks deserted. The way they did it is fantastic. London, it's like everything. He walks out the hospital, right, and everything's just deserted. Of course, he turns up in this like church. And next minute he sees like bodies everywhere. And next minute he makes some noises, though, you know. He kind of says hello, and then next minute these people pop up, and you think something's not right with these people. And it's so anyway, and you see this vicar come out, like you know, it's a vicar or something. You can see he's infected. He's trying to attack him, of course. So anyway, he makes a dash for it, right. He's making a run for it. Instantly getting chased from behind, getting chased by these freaking crazy raging. Rage thing, rabid. I suppose it's rabid. I suppose people, and next, but there's these other people helping them out, throwing petrol bombs at the infected people, and this scene was kind of a bit of a surprise because he meets these two people, right? This black girl and this guy, this other guy. Of course, first of all they find a place to eat and stuff like that. Next, they end up in his parents' house, and it's quite a sad scene when you see his parents on the bed dead. It's quite sad because you see they've been there for quite a long time. So anyway, of course he starts having these like hallucinations, kind of like memories, not hallucinations of his parents and stuff like that. And next minute he's got his candle on. Next minute you actually see the infected jumping through the windows and stuff like that, attacking him. Of course, when that happens, one of the characters, the guy who helps him out, that he gets like, I don't know what happens. He gets like a cut there or something. It's like a cut, a real nasty wound actually. As there, and of course, he knows that he's been infected. Of course, the woman kind of goes, "Are you infected?" And shots, whack, whack. You know, he hitting the guy, murdering him. And I think, Jesus, that this the thing about this film has a lot of surprises in it when you first watch it. Some things you don't expect in the film, and that's what makes this film so great. It's not a high budget movie, but it's got quite a decent amount of budget to it, to where they did it. Actually, I don't know how much this film cost, but it's pretty well done. Deserted town, deserted London and stuff like that. Explosions and stuff. It's pretty good budget, I say. Not like Avengers kind of budget, but the budget's excellent as well. So yeah, I don't think it's a high. I think the second one was more kind of like blockbuster action scenes and stuff like that. That's the reason why people don't like it, I think. But this one I do, but I still like the second one. But this one, the first one, I think Uptime is the best. So yeah, great solid performance and stuff like that. And think, of course. Anyway, they end up at this. Anyway, he gets killed, right? Brutal as hell that scene was. I was just, Jesus Christ, because he's like, okay, well just wait, you know. And she's kind of like, she knows what's gonna happen. He's gonna die and stuff like that. So he's gonna start attacking them. She had no choice. But of course, anyway, they end up in this apartment block because you see these like lights, and they meet this guy and this young girl, his daughter. And then of course this like broadcast thing, and they had this broadcast. Of course, they can't stay where they are, so they all like travel. They go on like this travel in this this London taxi, of course, and the scene where they're actually going through this tunnel and that. But yeah, it's driving pretty well. It's like driving in this thing and they're driving down, and they're like, and the guy saying it's a bad idea. This is a bad idea, and he is, and he's right. Because when it drops, when the taxi drops down, man, the freaking, I'm not sure what happens. Like a spark underneath the taxi, so it's like a bit of explosion, of course. One of the tires are busted and stuff like that, and he's like, even worse, you know, situation. The guy, the main character. Of course, when they do that, the girl's underneath the freaking, you know, trying to fix the tire, right? Of course, next thing they see the infection, because you see these rats coming, getting chased by the infected people. Of course, they're like, shit. But anyway, they escape, right? And I like the scene where they're in the countryside, so when they see these horses, these beautiful horses, they're like, and one of the girls say, the young girl says, you reckon they're infected? And the guy says, no, they're doing alright. You know, you can straight away see they're not infected. You know, they're like, you're at peace, you see. When you know horses are at peace, they're at peace. Happy and cheerful and running and wild in the wild. It's just a great, that scene was fantastic. It's a great, beautiful moment in the film. It's almost hope there straight away. You think, alright, if horses can survive, we can survive. So yeah. It was such a freaking good film. I remember first watching it, I thought, it actually shocked me a bit because I thought, whoa, that was just, right, just that scary, right, intense film. Danny Boyle is a great director, he really is. Trainspotting 1 and 2, 28 Days Later. Shadow Grey I've not seen for years, so yeah. Anyway, so the scene that really got to me the most is, you know, later on in the film. I'll come to that. Anyway, so they go back on the way, trying to find that destination from the broadcast of the soldiers, of course. They end up at the base. That end up at this like wall that's like blocked and stuff. They think, I know it's like a thing. The next one, they're outside, and he's kind of like looking around with a baseball bat. The daughter's dad, and he's pissed off. He's like, you know, and then he does something so stupid sees this crow, right? He sits down, man, and he sees this crow. I'll just go away, you know. This crow's like eating on the flesh of the. I don't know what it's doing. It's a bit like Resident Evil scene was, but it's a cool scene. Actually, I love crows. Crows are really cool birds, really beautiful, fantastic animals, and sometimes they do make them look bad in films. Not all the time, but now sometimes. So anyway, especially the Resident Evil films, but that's because they're infected and stuff like that. So anyway, but really smart, intelligent birds, really are cool. Love them to bits. So anyway, bats, birds, and stuff like that. So yeah. So anyway, this scene was pretty shocking. I was just like, Jesus Christ, and didn't expect to see it. When I first watched it, I didn't expect it, but now I watch it, I think, still a disturbing scene. Sad. It's sad and disturbing at the same time. So anyway, there's like a thing there, and he kicks it, right? It's like a dead body, but then he kicks the, I don't know what it is, a bit of metal that's on the finger. And next minute, blood drops from the freaking dead body into his eye. Of course, he's screwed. He's been infected. Actually, you know, more think about it, how did he get up there in the first place? The crows did just fly him up there, didn't they? Just drop him on there. I don't know. So that's a good question. Anyway, so anyway, he gets infected by his line. The daughter, and at first he's telling his daughter's like, talking to him. He's talking to his daughter. I'm so, you know, he's apologising to his daughter being angry. Next minute his daughter keeps coming over to him. He's telling him to stay away. Next minute he's getting a bit angrier, and he starts transforming, like changing, and they're like shit. And of course he gets shot by the soldiers. Anyway, later on in the film, they take him to the this big house. The soldiers do, and of course the only problem is it's kind of a trap. Bit of a spoiler there. It's a bit of a trap because it's like they want the girls for a reason, yeah. So anyway, because you find out later on that I think the guy, the main captain in it, of the soldiers, the captain, he says that he promised one of the soldiers females or something like that. So of course that's when you kind of go light bulb in the head, you know, if it's shit. So he tries to get him out of the house. Of course he gets taken to his, of course he gets knocked out and taken with this other guy soldier because he's against that freaking thing, and take him in the wilderness to kill him. Of course he escapes. Actually, someone actually said, and I said, "Man, how did he escape if he's got handcuffs?" Which is interesting because he's got handcuffs on, but he somehow gets his top off. So I'm trying to think. Hang on, if I'm tired, it's hard to get. I don't know. I'm trying to work that out. They didn't explain how think of it. He ripped it off. He kind of. I think that's how he did it. So he kind of took it over his thing and he ripped off like that. So I don't know. I'm just guessing. So anyway, it escapes right, of course. Of course, later on in the film, this is a cool scene. No, he takes a weapon from one of the soldiers. He has like a weapon or something, right? Yeah, he kills one of the soldiers. Of course, he gets his weapon. Of course, he goes back to the the base where he is, the big house and stuff. And of course, they're holding like an infected person there. He's been infected earlier on in the film. Of course, you didn't see him get infected. Of course, he showed him the soldiers. So anyway, he shoots the finger that chains that, and next when this. That the infected starts freaking attacking the other character. So it's like, so it's kind of smart what he does actually. He uses the infection for a weapon, you know, for kind of like a distraction and kind of thing. So yeah, cool scene though. Not a distraction exactly, just to balance the situation out of him. So yeah, because he's outnumbered, you see, he's got all his soldiers, so he thinks if he gets as many infection that way, the infection will attack anyone, not just him. So yeah, and the last part's fantastic where. One of the guys has got his girlfriend. I've cut this video short right now. He's got his girlfriend. Well, she's not really his girlfriend, but because he's not on Monona. But I like the fight between the little twat from, you know. There's a guy from, actually the guy was on what's that film called? What's that film called? Rise of the Foot Soldiers. He's on that. He plays one of the soldiers in it, of course. So of course he kills him by. You know, literally freaking putting his freaking thumbs right through his freaking eye, right through his eye. And that scene was shocking because then she thinks he's been infected, and she's about to kill him. Right, next minute, it's not infected, you know. So yeah, that scene was great. You know, and then the girl behind him hits him with a freaking some glasses, and that scene was quite funny. She's like high as a kite. So yeah, well, great, and the last part is pretty cool. It's like hope at the end too. I like the last part is a bit of hope at the end. But yeah, well, of course they didn't really need to make a sequel, but they did, and I thought it was a solid sequel. I liked it. So yeah, good film though. So great special effects, great action scenes, and great freaking scary horror, and very intense too. I said, don't because you think. And I was thinking, wouldn't this make a great game, like where you're in this, well, you know, you find survivors and you got to freaking hide out in buildings and stuff. And the film, and you gotta make sure you freaking got it, you know, you gotta keep safe and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't know, a game on this will be freaking intense. So yeah, so the rating I'm gonna give. So yeah, great action scene, great storyline, great freaking direction from Daniel Boyle and stuff like that, and great performance from all the cast and stuff. It's fantastic, and great freaking scares too. So some of it makes you jump and stuff like that. So yeah. And the most important thing, I like the way they're just completely empty London out, so it's completely empty. It's a bit of a mess, of course, because it's empty. There's no one around, so that's what I love about it. So it's a good film, really good film. So the rating I'm going to give this film, I'll cut it short now, is a 9 out of 10 because it's such a great film, and it's like a tribute to the zombie films, classic zombie films too. So yeah, like another take on zombie films, but it's not a zombie film because these zombies run and they're pissed too. So yeah, scary film though. So yeah, 9 out of 10 for 28 Days Later, and I'm gonna do the review one next when I watch it. So yeah. Right, okay. The next review tonight is film I've been watching earlier on. I watched the first one last night. Really good film, by the way. 28 Days Later, and I've been watching the second one. 28 Weeks Later. Great, good, really good film. And same box set, of course. You get both films, like I said. And this film was great. I don't understand why people don't like the second one. I remember I was watching some guys, but he didn't seem to like it. I don't know. It's like one of those movies that works, you know, like sequels that actually work. And sometimes sequels can have too much humour or ruins. But this one, the second one, actually adds on to the awesomeness of the first one, I'd say, because it follows the story later afterwards, different characters and stuff like that. And I like the fact that you've got. I like the fact it does something different instead of copying of the first film and like that. So yeah. It's got some great freaking memorable moments in this film, scary moments in it, disturbing moments, and but yeah, in this one, I like the beginning of the film where you see this couple, right, barricaded in this big house, and yeah, barricaded in this big house with these people, right, survivors, of course, it's still dangerous outside, of course, and then this scene was kind of like when. This scene was quite shocking where there's some kid starts knocking on the door and then the Fingers character, Robert Carlyle, what's his name? Robert Carlyle, really excellent actor. I don't know what his name is, but can't really pronounce it properly. And he plays like he's a bit of a coward in this, actually, kind of a coward, but I suppose you can understand why, because it's a scary film, it's a scary situation to be in, because, you know, these people go after him and want to freaking murder him. In fact, you know, it's pretty scary. But yeah, the film has a few surprises in it. When I first watched it, I was pretty shocked at what happens later on in the film, and I'll come to that in a bit. But this kid knocks on the door, right, and of course, his wife is like saying we shouldn't let him in. Of course, he's like, you don't know who's out there. And of course, they let the kid in, of course, and they feed him, and he starts telling us so about his mum and dad, I think it was, and of course then one of the characters in the cottage, the girl in it, she kind of goes up to the door, stupid thing to do, of course, and she gets grabbed, you know, there's like a infected person outside, grabs her right and freaking bites her, grabs the hand right and bites her, of course, infects her, and then all hell breaks loose in this film. It's like, god damn, it doesn't take long for a hell, but you know, it's like. And it's so good the way they did it. It's fantastic. I think the film takes place just after, between the first and kind of like that. It takes place 28 weeks later after that. Because, so yeah, really good film. Though that scene was, and the fact that the way it escapes, of course, leaving his wife behind and leaving the kid behind. To be honest, right, you can understand why, because if he had stayed behind and got infected, he would have freaking tried to kill, you know. So yeah, what situation would you? How would you handle the situation? Would you run or fight? Stand and fight and get killed? You stand, you know, there's loads of them infected, of course. So it's a difficult situation to be in. You could criticise the guy as much as you want, but then you think, what would you do? I mean, Jesus Christ. It's easy to criticise someone when they're in that bad situation, really. But yeah, I suppose you can see him being a coward, but then you think, he's just saving himself, you know, because he thinks, I'm out of it, because it's pretty intensive, you know. You got this like old woman, this old guy. Who, of course, that's the cottage that they belong to. That house belongs to them. Of course, they get, you know, infected, and the other guy. So yeah, so anyway, he escapes right, and then the film fast forwards a bit later on. 28 weeks later, and of course they're back in London. And London, of course, he's got his daughter and his son. They turn up in this like safe zone, of course, with other survivors and stuff like that, and of course yeah, but then the thing is though, right, later on in the film, so anyway, the two kids decide to freaking go back to the old house, of course, by escaping and go to the old house, of course. That's when the problems kind of start, because the whole place is deserted. It's like, I mean, I like the way they did London. It's like deserted as hell. It's like really well done. It kind of ups this game a little bit. That's this film. the film is a slight bit more high budget than the first one. The first one was kind of decent budget, it was a really impressive film. But this one was like kind of more budget added, explosions and stuff like that, and it's really well done actually. So yeah, actually I can't believe how old this film is. 2007, it's like an 11-year-old film, and I really hope they make a new one, a second one, after me and a third one to this. I hope that they're making 28 months later, which would be great, you know. I'd like to see stuck in a prison, maybe in a hospital somewhere, all like barricaded in the hospital. That'd be great. Anyway, so anyway, they go back to the house. Of course, the mum's not dead. Of course, they find the mum. Of course, the armor, or not turn up later on to take her back to the safe zone. Of course, that was a bad idea because she's infected. She's infected, but she's a carrier at the same time. She's not really, she's infected, but she's not infected as in she's not got the rage and stuff like that, but she can affect other people. Of course, no one knows that until later on. Finger finds that later on. So yeah, really violent film though. Really well, really excellent acted. The kids are great in it. The young girl is excellent. Yeah, like I said, fantastic, great stuff in it. Deserted London and stuff. It's freaking great, you know. This was directed by Juan Carlos Fresno. Did a great job, by the way. I think that's a foreign name. Ooh, it just sounds very foreign. Yeah, really good film. I liked it. I don't know why people don't seem to like this one over the first one. The first one was solid as hell, but the second one ups this game a little bit more. Loads of action, great action scenes, a lot of tension in it. So yeah. So anyway, so to take her back to the safe zone base, this place where to check her out and stuff like that. Of course, she's checking her out. So yeah. So anyway, she's like tied up or something like in this room with glass and stuff. Of course, her husband decides to visit her. And you think to yourself, okay, that's fine, nothing wrong with that. When I first watched that scene, I thought that's fine, you know. And then something happens, shocking. It's like, oh my god, shit! I didn't know that could happen. He snogs her. Can't blame him, of course. But yeah, he snogs her and gets infected. And that scene actually shocked the hell out of me. I was just like, Jesus Christ, did that just happen? It's like one of the moments in a film that you watch and you think, does that just happen then? Did he just freaking beat the shit out of her? He beats the yeah, oh man. He gets infected. If you've not seen this part, he gets infected, right? He goes all freaking nuts and she's like, I'm not. The thing is, does she know? That scene kind of intrigues me a little bit. Does she know she's infected? That she infected him as a kind of revenge thing? I always thought that when I saw that song. I always think, what if she did that? She knew about that, but I don't think she did. It just looked like she looked a bit pissed with the guy. I don't know. It's just me. So he snogs her, like, well, so. And then he starts going all crazy, like thinking he's infected, of course. And now when he kisses her, it's like he knows he's infected. He's thinking, "What the fuck?" So he goes all crazy and starts. And the next minute, he hits her, and then he freaking starts sticking his fingers down her freaking. A bit like the first film where that guy sticks his thumbs down. That he does that to her, and it's like, Jesus Christ, beats the shit out of her, murders her. Of course, he starts killing some of the soldiers. I think he kills some of the soldiers in the facility. Of course, the armour, the US Army, lock everyone down in this freaking, I don't know, a basement or something, I don't know where it is, in this big room, of course, which is stupid, because one of the guys is saying, just don't lock the door on us. Don't lock, you know, which is stupid, because when they lock the door on them, of course, they're all trapped in that room. Of course, Finger's character, who is infected, Robert Cara's character, I don't remember his name, he's like banging on the door and gets in. Of course, then all hell breaks loose in the freaking room because everyone's like trapped in. Some of the rest of the people getting infected, attacked by other infected people. Of course, the kid kind of escapes. Like next minute, later on, a slight bit further forward, I fast forward. Everyone's like escaping, and the soldiers. Some of the snipers at the top there shooting at some of the people. Of course, some of the people get shot by accident, but then one of the main captain of the site, I don't know what his name. He decides to freaking just shoot everyone in sight. So everyone's getting shot inside. Of course, there's some survivors in this room that takes the kid in there. The kid goes into this room with these other survivors, and of course, one of the soldiers decides to join them, help them out. Of course. The film's got a lot of tension. I'll tell you, the part where they're in that room, they all get attacked. Crazy. I was just like, this film is great. You know, it's great but scary at the same time because it's. Just think though, being put in that room out, what the hell would you do? Everyone's getting infected. You know, it's crazy. It's scary. It's claustrophobic actually, I think. Yeah. Well, good film, really intense, freaking good scenes. I can never understand why some people don't like this film. I can never understand why people don't like the second one. And it's not almost as good as the first one, almost. I think I still prefer the first one, but the second one's got that gorgeous hot woman in it from freaking Finger. So yeah, it's got her in it. So yeah, there's a post. So anyway, I might have to cut some. I just said that. Yeah, well, I was like, oh, nice. So anyway. Mercy. So anyway, they escape. Of course, some of the snipers on the roof. So of course, the army guy, commando, he starts taking some. Actually, he kills one of his guys, and I think, Jesus Christ, it's like he goes around shooting all the people, and then he joins them after. It's like, you know, because I think he knows it's wrong. Because this is wrong. You know, so he tries to put things right by saving the people, the survivors in it. Of course, some of the survivors get shot. Of course, later on in the film, they all met. This guy, they turn up with the helicopter, of course. Of course, one of the guys jumps on. Well, this part is pretty freaking crazy. This guy jumps on the back of on the side of the helicopter, and the guy's fucking killing all the freaking zombies, right, with the helicopter. But I don't think that's crazy. That seems. I cannot understand that part. That scene was weird because I thought, why the hell did he just take off and start freaking recklessly trying to freaking shove the guy off the freaking plane? That scene was weird. Very strange. It's a good scene, but at the same time, it doesn't make any sense because you think, why is he overreacting for? Crazy. I don't know. It's crazy. See, I even I don't understand that part. Baffles the hell out of me. Because all the blood is going on his face and stuff. You think he must be infected by now. He must have got infected by now because all the blood's like going on the guy, you know. Of course, he drops, and of course later on in the film, what happens in it? Yeah, later on in the film they end up in London. I'm trying to work where they're in like freaking, they're in this like street right, and of course there's like this gas stuff. I don't know what it is. It's like nerve gas stuff. I don't know what it is. It's some kind of gas stuff to kill the freaking infected and stuff. Anyway, they get into a car right. Of course, the car won't start. All the gas is right in the car, so he decides to push. Of course, you see these guys behind him with all these flamethrowers and everything. And then he goes and pushes the car. Of course, he starts pushing it. A bit like freaking Universal Soldier Van Damme's character where he starts pushing the car and stuff. So anyway, of course, it doesn't really turn out well for the guy in it because he gets freaking barbecued, cooked, you know. So yeah, and he gets killed in it, of course. And then they end up in this like the woman and the two kids. Actually, they end up with those three characters. They end up driving along. And there's like freaking a helicopter after him. At first I thought it was the helicopter that was that black guy was the US army guy was flying, the guy's friend. But no, it's like anyway they escape down this thingy where the trains are, the train station thingy. So it's quite dark down there. It's like they end up down there. Of course, they run into Finger's character. He seems to always get everywhere where they are. It's crazy. I don't know how he does it. So yeah, I think his character, Robert Carl's character's hiding down there. So yeah, and then something happens to the woman. Then he beats the crap out of her. Then it's like Jesus Christ. He literally beats the shit. You know, and it uses like I don't know why he uses that. So it's that because he's using that as night vision thing. So yeah, yeah, she uses the night vision thing so she can see, but the kids can't. So there's like dead bodies on the ground. So she's kind of like watch it there in the next minute. There's like escalators going down. Of course, they're not moving. Of course, so some of the kids like roll down, drop down the freaking escalators, and then she gets tapped by a freaking finger in the film. And then it doesn't turn out well for her. Of course, last part was pretty cool. When they end up at Wembley Stadium, and it's kind of the grass is actually quite long at Wembley Stadium. It's pretty cool, and the helicopter's there, and then of course the kids are saying you know they're all gone and stuff like that. So yeah, oh yeah, I forgot to mention yeah. This part where the kid gets bitten by his dad. Of course, you think, oh, he's going to change. Of course, he doesn't, because he's immune to the infection. Of course, But the last part was pretty crazy. I mean, the last part's interesting because when they escape with the black guy in the helicopter, of course, something happens to him. The helicopter's like, I don't know what happened. It crashed or something, or it's landed or something. It's landed in France or something, and of course, that sort of, yeah, that part was pretty interesting because you think, hang on a minute, how was he infected? How the hell did that happen? Now my theory is, right, they're flying in an helicopter, right, and somehow, I think the kid infected his sister, and she attacked him. So that's my theory of what happened. I'm not sure if she can get infected just like him. I'm not sure if she's immune just like his mum. So I'm not sure. Either that happened or somehow the black guy was infected and he killed. I don't know. It's interesting though. It's interesting. I'm not sure how the hell that works. I think, hang on a minute. There is a way. I don't know. Yeah, it's an interesting one though. It's a good. The ending part was pretty crazy actually. And it kind of opens up for a sequel. Of course, they never actually did a sequel to the second one. So yeah, it's kind of criminal. Not the. I'd love to see a third one to the film, but yeah, I think we will see one eventually, but not yet. Maybe a few years time probably. So yeah. So the rating I'm going to give this film is a 9 out of 10 because I was going to give it 8, but I think it's a lot better film than that. Intense, great performance from the cast, and it's got that chick from Insidious on it. So yeah, so 9 out of 10 for 28 weeks later. Good film. I don't know why people don't like it. I don't know. Baffles the hell at me. It's got some great action scenes, intense moments, solid performance from the cast, good effects, and the part where actually the cool part is where the jets freaking blow up parts of London. You know, literally like flaming like that. It's almost freaking exploding like this massive. Ooh, that's like they actually cook London like that, like a big freaking freezer. That scene was cool. I did like that scene. Good effects, good action scenes. Yeah. So that's barbecue London burning some of the infected, even not just infected actually, not uninfected people. I think you do see people in the street, but you didn't see them burn up and stuff. You think, oh, were they infected? I don't know. So yeah, 9 out of 10 for 28 weeks later. Good film. Before I go off, and remember to enjoy this video and subscribe to my channel. And if you ever come across this video and you want to put a comment, just put a comment. What do you think of? Which is your favourite film? 28 days later or 28 weeks later? I still think the first one's bad, but the second one is still fantastic. So yeah. Actually, I don't know now. I like both of them. So yeah. And anyway, Pete, have a nice evening and enjoy this film review. Bye.